Right, so here we are in 4 o'clock. We now have a couple of guests with me today. They are John Beach and Rob Butland from the Cornish Rebels Rugby League team. Hello guys.
How you doing, alright?
Yes, thank you. Now, who was that?
That's me.
And who are you?
My name's Rob.
Hi Rob.
Hi.
And John?
Hiya, alright?
Right, yeah, lovely, thank you. Right, so in the next probably 45-ish minutes, up to 5 o'clock, we're going to talk about Rugby League. And a lot of people think or aware of rugby union in the county. But first of all, let's introduce you two guys. If you'd like to go ahead, tell us who you are and where you're from.
Hi, I'm John Beach. I'm originally from Oldham in Lancashire. I currently live in Redriff, and I'm the chairman and team manager of the Cornish Rebels.
Okay.
My name's Rob. Half my family's Cornish and half is from West Yorkshire, so I was born and grew up there. I moved down here when I was a teenager, and I'm club secretary, and I also look after the sort of the development of the sport as well.
Okay, so we've got a Lancastrian and a Yorkshire. They don't usually mix, do they?
No, not too good.
Just put the atmosphere in the room already. Okay. So how did you both get involved with rugby league then?
I started playing for Waterhead, my local junior club, when I was 7 years old.
Right.
At about 13, I moved across the town to Saddleworth Rangers,
Right.
where I played till I was about 15, 16.
Yeah.
And then I had a long break.
Right.
Till I was 30, and then we set up the Cornish Rebels, and here I am again.
Okay.
I'm very similar. I sort of grew up with rugby league, watching it, playing it, and then, like I said, as a teenager, I moved to Cornwall, where there was no rugby league clubs.
Yeah.
So I sort of went off and got into other things like teenagers do, and
Yeah.
eventually met John and got involved with rugby league again, and we decided that we'd start a club.
Okay. And we haven't looked back since.
No, not really.
No, not had time.
I do. So obviously we cover rugby union quite a lot here on the show. There are obviously quite clear differences. I know them, but some of our listeners may not know the difference between rugby union and rugby league. Can you sort of give us sort of an indication what are the key differences?
Key differences: you've got 2 less players on the pitch per side. The amount of tackles are limited before you have to turn the ball over. There's no line-outs, and there is no ruck or maul. It's replaced with a play the ball. And other than that, there are far more similarities than there are differences.
Okay. And I know from my point of view, I know that obviously the North-West probably has got the biggest congregation of big teams.
Tends to be the more traditional areas, yeah.
Yeah, I know rugby union's sort of up and down.
Yeah.
And I know you're both from up that way.
Yeah.
Is rugby union so big up north, is it? Or?
Some parts of it, yeah. I mean, it's certainly rugby league is more dominant.
Yeah.
But there are some, like sort of Leeds Rhinos share a ground with Yorkshire Carnegie, and
right.
So no, the majority of big union clubs tend to be further south.
Yeah. And then obviously, as you said, you came down here and you thought, well, okay, rugby league down here.
Yeah, I mean, it's like 10 years of no rugby league, and I saw something on Facebook. There was some chaps trying to put together a Cornish team to take on the clubs in Devon.
Right.
And I was itching to get involved, really. Yeah, we've never looked back since, really.
Oh, I do. Excellent. Now, I mentioned about 2 codes. Do you have any players in your teams that cross codes, or?
All of them.
Really?
Yeah, all our lads play both rugby league and rugby union.
Oh, okay.
There's 1 or 2 that are more predominantly rugby league players that, like ourselves, are from different parts of the country and obviously now live in Cornwall, whether that be through work or one reason or another. But they all pretty much play union and league.
So they'll probably be out today playing somewhere.
Yeah, somewhere. Yeah.
A fair few of them will be out today playing. Yeah.
And you're nice in the warm studio, and they're out getting cold and wet.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Absolutely.
Okay. So we mentioned about obviously the differences between the 2, but when does rugby league season actually cover, or when does it start and finish?
I mean, the Super League season starts in February and runs through to October. But at our level, we actually play from the beginning of May through to the end of August.
Oh, okay.
So it's basically rugby union off season,
which works well.
Yeah. Because you don't turn up with half your players missing.
And it's a lot warmer.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Great. Okay, that's great, guys. So what we're going to do now is just have a couple of adverts, and then we'll play a song by Aston Marigold, and then we come back for a little bit more chat. That was Aston Marigold, we'd get stupid. And anyone who's watching on a webcam would just see two Cornish Rebels dancing in the studio. And I'm not saying a word. So, we've got John and Rob from the Cornish Rebels. We're now going to talk a little bit more about the Cornish Rebels, a bit more depth. We talk generally about the rugby league scene. So now let's chat about the Cornish Rebels. So we sort of touched on how you got started, but a little bit more detail, guys?
Well, about 5 years ago, there was a guy working for the RFL in Cornwall and in the Southwest as a whole, and he decided to set up a Cornwall Rugby League Association and a Devon Rugby League Association. And the idea was that every year they'd play an annual fixture as a county. John got involved a couple of years before me, and then, long story short, John ended up being my wedding photographer. We got talking and I decided to get involved. We had a meeting and it was like end of January time in 2013. And I said to John...
Well, the first year I was involved, it was actually, we played the game at the Minay in Penzance.
Oh, yeah.
And we had a crowd of 500 people there.
Right.
And it was fantastic. And, you know, we had 6 weeks of training. We had this great crowd. We actually got a bit of a thumping, but the result didn't really matter because, you know, a big crowd and a lot of Cornish people there, it was really good.
And you got the interest in it sort of from that stage?
So, the next year we were dying to do it again.
Yeah.
And we went to Devon and we actually beat them.
Right.
So the Devon team was made up of the 5 Devon clubs that played through the season, and we went up there with a scratch side and actually won the competition. So we thought, well, we can't leave it at that.
No.
So then we had a meeting.
We got together at the end of January, and John sat there as chair of the meeting, and said, right, lads, if we're going to do this, we've got to establish a club and enter a league.
Yeah.
I said, all right. So what are you thinking then, John? Maybe next year, sort of plan it for 12 months, and we'll kick on for next year.
Yeah.
Is that? I was thinking about maybe like May. What? As in 12 weeks time? Yeah. All right. Okay. Fair enough. So that was it. We sort of decided we'd do it. We sort of came up with a name, set up everything we needed to set up, got the lads together, and before we knew it, 12 weeks later, we were up at Exeter putting 80 points past them. And that was...
Yeah, we've never looked back since.
Yeah, honestly, yeah.
Excellent. So where do you play your home games?
We are extremely fortunate that we've got a really good relationship with Redruth. Obviously a really, really big club in Cornwall.
Yeah.
And great crowd down there, really, really great people that organise it, really good volunteers, and we've been based there pretty much since day one. So yeah, we always get looked after, and it's really central for us. So yeah.
And you play the Hellfire Corner?
We try to, yeah.
Yeah. We've actually pushed a few scrums in Hellfire Corner, haven't we? It's not
very rugby league-like, but no, it works. So.
We've done it on the odd occasion, yeah.
Excellent. So how many teams do you have in the whole Cornish Rebels?
Well, we've only got the one open age at the minute.
Right.
Obviously, there's work going on to sort of establish some stuff around schools, and that will hopefully plant the seed for. We'd like some more age groups going forward, and also long term we'd like to see some more clubs as well.
Okay.
But we're just doing all we can. We've got a really successful open age team, great group of lads who just really enjoy playing.
Yeah.
And the ambition is to sort of build on it, and with that naturally will come hopefully more teams in the future.
I think the good thing, as you said, about that they do both codes.
Yeah.
So they're keeping fit throughout the whole year by playing both codes, which is great. So tell us about, you talked about beating these teams. What's the standard like in the league that you play in?
It's a bit variable, to be honest. Right. A lot of clubs do. I mean, we are out on a limb a bit from the other clubs in the league, so a lot of clubs do find it a little bit difficult to travel to us at times. Obviously, summer traffic. There's a lot of things going on. Lads aren't available every week. They've played all winter playing Union, and then obviously to play a full summer season as well can take its toll a little bit. So it's a little bit of a interesting one. Teams we play at home aren't always the teams that we play away.
Right.
So we find that
it's hit and miss.
It can be a little bit hit and miss. Every team has their day. Everybody in this league is capable of beating everybody.
Right.
But obviously it does vary a little bit on the side that you play on the day.
Okay.
We're lucky that we've got a fantastic playing base who, like I said before, are really keen, and touch wood, generally speaking, we don't struggle that much. We're quite good at fulfilling home and away games. But like John said, sometimes you can you can get a team come down and you don't know what you're getting, and results can go either way. But there's some, like John said, on their day, there's some really strong teams in the southwest.
And how many players do you actually have on your books at the moment?
I think it's around 60 at the moment. We get a lot of lads that dip in and out. They if you take, say, a 2-week holiday, for instance, in the middle of the summer, that could be 3 games that are missed. So we have lads that want to be involved, and they try and be involved as much as they can. And then there's obviously work, overtime, different things. It's pretty much like a rugby union club. They have big playing squads, probably not quite as big as our 60, but we don't see all 60 all at the same time. No. We have a core of about 25 lads that are with us all the time, and we have a few that dip in and out as well.
Okay, that's good. And so, do you train at Redruth as well? Or?
Yeah, we do, yeah.
Oh, okay, good. So, you talked about your league. What's your best or biggest achievements to date so far?
The Origin,
a tough one, isn't it?
For me, my best memory will be the Origin game in 2013 at Redruth, because it was a really close game. This was for Cornwall, not necessarily as the Rebels, but it was our first season as the Rebels. We'd had a really good year, and it just capped the season, and it was a really close game. What about you?
Well, I mean, the circumstances that surrounded that game, we lost the grand final. We were favourites to win the final. We went to Launceston on the last day of the season, and we got beat. And we had 2 days to pick the lads up and to get a side back together for the Wednesday to play Devon. And the response from the lads was amazing.
It was.
And I think in terms of achievements to turn something around so quickly, I think that's got to be probably the best game ever, really.
Although a special shout for the cup final in 2013, which was at Launceston, and it was a red hot day. It was about 32 degrees. It was absolutely baking. It went to extra time. We had a stoppage for a player stretchered off.
It was about an hour. We lost our captain. We had to go to hospital to Durford.
And it was just it was an absolute battle and the guy again. It's just another typical performance of the guys who just gave everything, and that was our first trophy, wasn't it? As a club, it was like that was when it really started to sink in that actually, do you know what, we've got something here.
That's good. Is your aim to go bigger and better for the years?
Absolutely.
Yeah. It'd be wrong to say that we haven't got ambitions. To grow. Quite well.
Big ambitions.
We got big ambitions. There's no two ways about it. But they're realistic, and we're taking it one step at a time. We've got our end goal, and we're doing everything we need to do in between to achieve it.
Okay. Excellent. What we're going to do is going to have another song now by Electro Velvet. Right, that was Marmaduke Duke and Rubber Lover. Yeah, someone in the studio liked that song. I'm not saying who.
What?
Rob might have been. Liked it.
What?
I've got your mic off, so you can't respond. Right, okay, so we've got the Cornish Rebels in here at the moment. Still, for the time being, up to about 5 o'clock. We now covered some areas already, but we want to just talk about the St Helens Rugby League Partnership very briefly. Can you just tell us about that?
Well, we sort of have got a friend who comes and watches us sometimes, who sort of spent quite a bit of time in Cornwall, and he does a lot of volunteering in the academy set up there. Put us in touch with the guys up there. We went to meet them about 12 months ago and sort of talked about what our plans were and what we're hoping to achieve. And over the time, it's sort of grown to the point where now we've got an official partnership with them, which will which will see them sort of supporting our activity, particularly around the school stuff and around the youth. And it's something that should work well for both of us, really.
Sounds really good. Good to be linked with a Super League team.
Yeah, they're a massive team. They're one of the biggest rugby league clubs in the world. So it's great for us. Unbelievable.
Excellent. Okay, we're going to have a couple of adverts, then we're going to do a bit of Florence Machines, and then finally we're going to come back and talk a little bit more. It's coming up to 14 minutes to 5. You're still here listening to The Hub Sports Show with me, Matt Allen, and I've got the Cornish Rebels, Rob and Johnny, with me still. We're just going to finish off the last section of the show, talking about other things you're doing. We mentioned about St Helens Partnership and just generally rugby league and your club, etc. But I know you're involved with schools at the moment. Tell us more about that.
Well, obviously it's part of our strategy going forward is how we sort of make more people aware of rugby league in Cornwall, and that starts in schools, and it starts with kids who are growing up, because John and I were kids growing up in a world where we knew about rugby league, and that allowed us to get involved with it and engage with it. And currently, people, kids growing up in Cornwall don't have that. So there's a great initiative called Embed the Pathway, which is it's a curriculum resource actually for schools where teachers can come along and get involved, and they can actually teach rugby league in schools.
Right.
And we've got at the moment 4 schools in Cornwall that actually teach rugby league now.
Okay.
And we've got another 4, or maybe 5 that are going to do it from January. And any school that wants to do it can do it. And when the teachers come along and they start to learn about it, they absolutely love it, because the resource itself is brilliant, and it allows us to, like I said, make more people aware of it, which is what really comes out of it.
The other thing as well is that any school that gets involved with Embed the Pathway becomes an England Rugby League development school.
Oh, okay.
The Embed the Pathway process come about through England Rugby League, and the strategy is how they could win the next World Cup.
Right.
So it's quite a big thing for schools to be able to use that logo of England Rugby League and say we are an England Rugby League development school, even though we are in Cornwall.
Yeah.
We're not in a rugby league area, but we can make a difference.
It can contribute. At the end of the day, we all know that Cornwall's produced some unbelievable rugby players throughout the years. I mean, real amazing. So who's to say that there isn't a kid in school somewhere now that could play for England Rugby League in 10 years' time?
Absolutely.
It's absolutely possible, and I would say probable.
Yeah.
If the opportunity's there, then and I think that's great. So part of our strategy going forward, along with stadium and everything else, is how do we get it into schools, and how do we get kids playing?
Okay. And I understand you've got big plans. We mentioned earlier. What's the highlight of your biggest plan?
Well, I mean, about 6 months ago, just on the eve of the season, we got contacted by the guys at Stadium for Cornwall.
Right.
Obviously, it's been about, I think, almost 10 years in the making, with various guises and and sort of as time's gone on, it's sort of come to a head in the last 6 months. And we were approached to say, would we put our name to the campaign to try and get a bit of extra publicity around it and various things. And we said, well, if you think it'll help, then obviously we want to. We are about sport in Cornwall, so why wouldn't we support something like that? And then when it all got through and it looked like it was going to happen, Cornish Pirates actually got in touch with us and invited us down there. Yeah. And they were basically said they want to share their home with us. So there's an opportunity there, and from summer 2018 we'll be based at Stadium for Cornwall, and that then really is a massive piece in our puzzle of how we get to where we need to, where we feel we can get to.
Excellent. And of course, that's all gone through the stadium. That's fairly recently.
Yeah, it's happening.
Approved.
Absolutely, yeah. Shovel will be in the ground, I think, May.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And chaos for me in 3 Milestone coming to work every day. That's fine. But we forgive that, for bringing more sport to Central Mid Cornwall anyway. So that's good. And particularly if you guys are there, it'd be great. So, we've talked about Rugby League throughout the last hour. How can people get in contact with you?
All our contact details are on our website, which is www.cornishrebels.co.uk. You can follow us on Twitter and on Facebook at Cornish Rebels Rugby League. Anyone that wants to get involved, by all means, please get in touch, whether it be through Facebook, Twitter, on the website. Our contact telephone numbers and email addresses are on there. We're always looking for willing volunteers who are passionate about sport and to get involved with us.
And not necessarily playing, volunteers, behind the scenes volunteers as well?
Anybody. If you want to be involved in what we're trying to achieve here in Cornwall and with the Cornish Rebels, whether that be playing off the field in any capacity, whether it be 20 minutes before kick-off or a couple of hours a week, please feel free to get in touch, because, you can never have enough hands to the deck.
Absolutely.
And particularly as you're saying about the growth of the club as well, and the sport in Cornwall, we need to encourage more people into it.
Definitely, I think sport brings people together, doesn't it? It brings communities together as well, and there's no better way, I don't think.
No. Well, it's been absolutely fabulous having you here today.
Thank you for having us.
It's been an experience. a good experience. It has been a good experience. No, it is a good experience. And obviously, for all the listeners out there, please follow the Cornish Pirates. Please get in touch with them. They are playing next year. They've got big plans. Get in touch with them. And
it's Rebels.
And Cornish Rebels, not Pirates.
Don't worry, you're not the first. You won't be.
You mentioned the Cornish Pirates. It's stuck in my mind.
I know.
They're not even playing today, which makes it even worse. So, yeah, the Cornish Rebels, obviously, we want you to get involved with Rugby League in Cornwall. So, get in touch with them. Thanks, John. Thanks, Rob.
Thank you very much for inviting us along.
No problem.